SOS. Help. You need to come down here now. They are wild. And I'm thinking, what the heck is going on? Wow. I am drinking my first cup of tea on British soil, Yorkshire tea, the brand. There is no other better brew than Yorkshire tea, in my opinion, after being in the Canary Islands for the last few days. And let me tell you, this first cup of tea back in my home, in my mug, is exactly what I need today because I am exhausted, okay? And you might be thinking, how are you so tired? Like, you've just said you've come back from a holiday. Like, surely you're not feeling rested, relaxed, and ready for the week ahead. The fact that I did go with my family is exactly why I am not rested, relaxed, and ready for the week ahead, okay? And holiday season really is upon us, isn't it? Thick and fast. I am looking at Instagram, and I don't know if it's because everyone is trying to escape whatever we're calling this British spring and summer at the moment. Like, it is tragic. It is absolutely tragic. But yeah, vacation, staycation, holiday, whatever you're going, whatever you want to call it, we are going to discuss it today because I love holidaying. I know I just fully said that I am exhausted after having been away with my family, my kids, but really, I love it. I absolutely love it. Parenting abroad is the real way to describe it. Like, you're not having the holiday that you once had. All right. We used to call it a fly and flop. This is the holiday that I was used to. Okay. I would fly to a destination, flop on a sunbed for 7, 10, however many days I was there. And I would not move for the duration of my stay. My days were wake up, breakfast, lie in the sun, go out for a beautiful dinner after the shower of all showers, eating lays on the balcony. That is what my life looked like when I used to holiday without kids. Even a staycation in the UK, we'd be, sleeping in, going for breakfasts, taking our time. You'd walk around. Should we go and get another coffee? Should we grab a pub lunch? Like, this was the holiday that I was used to pre-children. And do I look back on that and think I did not appreciate that enough? Absolutely. But do I adore holidaying with my kids? 1,000%. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Parenting abroad, holidaying. Are you going on holiday? Like, are you planning on? Are you one of these people that's like, oh, I don't know. Like, I'm a bit nervous to take my kids away, go on a flight. Like, it is pretty daunting. But let me tell you about the first flight that we ever took Solomon on. Now, this flight was 2 days or 3 days after his birthday. He just turned 1. It was in 2021. So the world was like just opening up after COVID. We were the only ones on the flight. Okay. So on the way out, we actually, a couple days before, had him diagnosed with tonsillitis. Like, he was really poorly over his birthday. I took him to the doctor and he did have tonsillitis. So that first flight, he literally slept the whole entire way. Like, we went to the Canary Islands, which is a 4-hour flight. And I was a bit nervous because he'd never done it before. He's only 1. You're like, how is this going to go? And he slept the whole way. And that 100% lured me into a false sense of security that my son would always sleep on a flight. The flight home, again, because it was COVID, there was no one on the flight other than us and maybe 2 other families. So he was having the best time. He was over his tonsillitis, walking up and down the aisles. The place was empty. He could quite literally sit anywhere he wanted. And he just had a great time. And it was fantastic. And he even slept on that flight, right? Like I said, fully lured me into a false sense of security that my son was going to be a dream on the plane. The second time we flew, do you remember that time where everyone's flights were getting cancelled? That time where there was delays in the airport? Like, it was a really weird time of travel where everything was just really bad. I think it was like strikes or something like that. I don't know. But basically, that second flight that we took him on, he was between 1 and 2 walking. And we had a delay. And our delay wasn't just like 30 minutes, 45 minutes, 2 hours. I'm talking 6 to 8 hours of a delay. And I'd run out of food because obviously, like, we'll get into like, the tips and tricks that I found with traveling with kids. But when you travel with kids, you have to bring, like a bag full of snacks. And if you think you've got enough, you need more. Like, this is the level of traveling with children. And I remember we ran out of snacks. We'd run out of Ella's kitchen pouches because we'd been there for 6 to 8 hours. At this point, we should have been settled in our beds in said destination. You know what I mean? And literally, when I tell you, nowhere was open in the airport. Okay. So we were literally scrounging for anything. I think the only thing he could actually eat was just sugar and unhealthy things. And obviously for an 18-month-old, that's not great. That is not a good diet. All right. So anyway, we're loading him up with all of these snacks because again, parents will know when you're delayed and you need to keep your child entertained and there's nothing around, you let them run around like wild animals and just anything goes, or you revert to snacks and you just keep feeding them because that is what they love to do, is eat, right? Or when you were in my situation, I'm pretty sure he was doing both. Like, I'm pretty sure if you would have seen him, he would have had a pack of Wotsits in his hands, food all over his face, all over his clothes, running around wired on sugar. I'm pretty sure that is the situation that you would have found us in during this time. So anyway, we board the plane and we're all like, oh, finally. Anyway, on that flight, every single thing that he had eaten in that time that we were delayed, he threw up all over me, all over the seat. And for the duration of the flight that I was there, he was crying because obviously he'd thrown up. He was clearly unwell. I didn't have a change of clothes for him either because I was a new mum. And, you know, we don't think that he's going to need a spare change of clothes and throw everything up all over me. I didn't have a spare change of clothes. And I'm pretty sure I was also pregnant. Actually, I'm 100% sure I was pregnant. And it was just not a good experience, that flight. It really wasn't. So yeah, so then we had like a few good flights, like in between. This time around, we've just come back from Lanzarote, okay? And that is a 4-hour flight. And if there's also another thing that I have been doing since becoming a mum is looking at flight times. I never used to look at flight times in this much detail before, but now if it doesn't align with my kids' schedule or align with me in my soul, where I'm like, that is going to be a good time, we are not flying at that time. So for example, a late night flight past 8 p.m. is not going to be happening. An early morning flight prior to 8 a.m. is not going to be happening because my kids can't, they're not built like that. They can't hack it, okay? So I am like a midday, kind of flight. We flew at midday, Saint napped. It was a dream. Solid little nap. It was a dream, okay? Flight on the way back was about 6 p.m. We were delayed again, but they still slept. It was lovely, right? Flight times are actually so important when you have kids. But anyway, this holiday, we had a dream flight on the way out. And I genuinely thought, wow, my kids, amazing. They're so resilient. Look at them, like napping and, keep themselves entertained. Like 4 hours is a long time when you're stuck in a small aisle, I'll be honest. But they did really, really well. Like they actually did really, really well. And we got to the hotel and it was all exciting. And the kids were like, full of energy. And, it was past their dinner time. So they're probably still hungry. And Ben was like, look, like you stay here because I needed to freshen up. Like I, after flight, feel vile. I just wanted 2 minutes to just like freshen up. Like, you know what I mean? And just feel like, oh, nice. Like get us a bit more settled, unpack a little bit. But we were not doing that with our kids. So he was like, look, let me take the kids. I'll get them a bite to eat. We were all inclusive. Let's just go down. I'll open up the buffet with them. We can eat. And usually my kids are great. Like they're used to eating out. They're used to these environments. I thought this will be fine. This will make sense. I get a text from Ben. SOS. Help. You need to come down here now. They are wild. And I'm thinking, what the heck is going on? Anyway, they were so excited to be there and so overtired and so done that they arrived at the all-inclusive buffet. Saul and Saint, they were running, my kids, they were running everywhere. Saul was in the freaking all-inclusive chef's kitchen, okay? He ran into that door. Saint was running the opposite way. Ben had to choose, like, which child do I, like, save at this point? He picked the kitchen because, knives, heat, ovens, it's a kitchen. Like, no. Grabbed Saul, comes out, and literally the waitress or whatever the staff, whatever her role was carrying Saint back to Ben. Like, hey, is this your child? And he's like, yeah. And I come down and I'm like, what? That literally happened. He was like, I am not joking. Okay. So this is it. Like traveling with kids is not for the faint-hearted. Like, you have just got to deal with those things. And what I will say though is, in those moments, like, it's so easy, especially with flying. Like, I know there is so much anxiety and like nervousness around traveling and flying with kids. But what you've got to understand is, like, everybody has been there, or most people have been there. And the only people that look at you with judgment will be people who maybe don't have kids, or are just judgy people. When it comes to travel and days out and doing things with kids, I guess just give yourself some grace and understand that people aren't looking at you thinking, oh my gosh, like, she's such a bad mum. Why can she not control her child? They're probably just looking, like an elderly couple turned to us, this time, and they were like, oh wow, we've been there. It's hard. And they look at you and go like, I get it. They understand. And I think sometimes we just think, but even if people are looking and judging, who cares? All right. You're off on your holiday. Like, it is such a short period of time to like do that. You know what I mean? And handle the airplane. It's such a short period of time in, reality, to the amazing holiday and memories that you're actually going to have. Like, just remember that, like, it is extraordinary the time that you get away. This is some of the stuff that I, in my time of traveling with kids, have come to learn. First thing, there is no rest and relaxation. I know I mentioned this before, but I just want to cover that because I think a lot of the time when you have children and you go on holiday, I think there's this idea that it's going to be the same as what it was before. And like I said, we were young when we had the boys, and we were like the first of everybody to have kids. And so we did a lot of experiences before friends of ours that have now since had kids. And I remember, like, friends of ours would go on holiday and we'd be like, oh my gosh, have the best time. And they'd come back and they'd be like, I am never doing that again. And we'd be like, why? Like, it's so fun. Like, it's amazing. And they're just like, I didn't sit down. Like, it's just wild. Like, there's no holiday. There's no rest. And I think that's a huge thing that you've just got to come to terms with. Like, the holidays that you were used to, sipping cocktails, those cocktails that you were drinking before are now warm fruit shoots that have been warmed up in the sun because the kids don't keep them in the shade. Okay. The book you were reading is now, a sticker book or flashcards to keep your kids entertained. The dip, the beautiful dip that you used to take purely to cool down has now become sitting in a disgusting baby pool with other children interacting with you, which I hate. Like, I hate that when, like, you're playing with your child in the swimming pool and then you have like some random 6-year-old that decides to make friends with you. Like, this is literally how it goes when you are abroad with your kids, like, and on holidays with your kids. Like, it's just so different. And I think that idea of what a holiday is now, like, for me, I don't think of holidays as like a rest and relaxation time that I used to have before where I'm reading a book. I took a book away with me this time and I literally put it back in the suitcase. I didn't even take it out once. I literally said, wow, I was bold thinking that I was even going to open a chapter of this. Like, I think I did actually read one chapter when Solomon and Saint slept at the same time for like 20 minutes or maybe even 10. Like, literally, this was the levels, okay? And yeah, I think a lot of it is just like this understanding that the holidays that you did have, like, they're just not going to happen with kids. But it's so amazing. Like, seeing your kids thrive when you have so much time with them is amazing. Whether it's abroad, whether it's at home. Like, we did a staycation last August and it was just the best time. Like, we took a week off and we just explored where we live. We went on a boat ride. I've not been on this particular boat ride since I was like 10. And it was amazing. My kids had never been on a boat before and they thought it was just like unreal. Like, pedalers at the local park. Like, just time spent with your kids is everything, in my opinion. Like, I just love it. And even then, the phase is so short. If you're in that period that I'm in right now where my kids are really dependent and they're not like 14, 15 going off and swimming and making friends, it's hard. Like, it is hard. You're constantly watching, like, even more so when they're younger. It's really difficult, like, holidaying because you're also out of routine and you're also in a foreign place. But honestly, the memories that you just make are everything. And some of the best times of my life growing up and even now with my kids has been on holiday. So if you are one of those people that's like, oh, I don't know if I want to take time off work and spend it with my family, please do it. Honestly, if you want to go on a flight or a long drive, like it's fine. It's always worse in your head than what it is in real life. And just on that note, like with the fact of like it's difficult for such a short period of time, it really is. Again, you know, on the flight back, we had 2 elderly people that were sat across the row from us, and they were like watching us like the whole flight, like, you know, and they're just like, and you can see that they're watching us and they're just like, oh, how lovely. And I know I might even cry when I say this because it actually makes me feel so about it. But I know that one day that'll be me sitting on a plane looking at a young family and reminiscing with Ben over, oh my gosh, do you remember when they were that small? Do you remember having to go in the pool all the time with them? Oh, but do you remember when they learned to do this? And you get to the place where you're reminiscing. And even now, like I holiday a lot with my parents. Hack, by the way. If you want to make it easier on yourself, holiday with grandparents. Game changer, okay? But I see them now holidaying with my kids, and they have those moments where they go, wow, I see so much of you, and they get to relive that small piece of our life growing up with the grandkids. And I just know that one day that's going to be me, that I'm going to be sitting across a row from a family and going, I miss that so much. And I think that's the thing with everything with kids and growing up, like everything is such a short thing. Like, and when you're in it, you don't see it because it's your life and you're living it and it's every day and it's exhausting and it's sleepless nights and it's, you know, the same thing every day and school routines and getting up and getting dressed and brushing teeth. And it can feel like it's one big circle of repetitiveness. And when is it ever gonna, like, when am I ever gonna get out? But it is so short. That saying is so true. Like the days are long, but the years are short. And even in my experience being a mum just for 4 years, I know that to be so true. I think I posted on my Instagram the other day that my son is now feeding himself, my youngest. And it's so bittersweet because I'm like, nice, I can empty the dishwasher while they eat their breakfast. This is fantastic. I'm going to save so much time. But I'm also like, wow, he's at the phase now where he needs me for one less thing. And he's only 20 months. Like, it's a lot. Like, it's hard to go through some of that sometimes and realize that they really are growing up so fast. And so I think make those memories. I know it's hard and difficult, like especially when they're younger, but it is so worth it. And I would hate for people to not experience things and do things because of the fear of how it's going to be like or other people's judgments and can I cope with it? Because you absolutely can. Like, you know your child inside out. You know it's going to make them tick. You know it's going to help. And if they have to eat mini cheddars until they're blue in the face on a flight, then so be it. Like, they will be fine. They will survive. Do you know what I mean? I guess the other thing that I've learned, like with kids, is that the routine that you have at home is not going to be the same routine when you're on holiday. I actually had someone ask this, you know, on my Instagram this week about like being on holiday with them and how do you get them to stay up at night? Like, honey, my kids don't sleep when they're on holiday. Like I just said that with that story of them running around the all-inclusive restaurant, like, they are wild on holiday. They live for going on holiday. Like the mini disco, they're up for it. They're dancing. They don't go to sleep. Saint, this holiday in particular, was really difficult to get to sleep. Like, he tested me. Like, I'm not even kidding. He tested me. Okay. But that's the thing. Like, they are so out of routine and out of normality. They are so excited to be there. Like, don't expect the same routine that you have at home to be the same on holiday. But I would 100% suggest to have one. Like, my kids on holiday, they sleep so much more. They don't sleep in. They just have more sort of like naps and things. Like, they'll go in the pool and they'll just fall asleep on the side of the bed, like on the sunbed and things. Like, they love it. Okay. They are all for holiday. But I think it's still good to have a routine. Like, we still get up, we still have breakfast. We would go every morning, like for a walk maybe, and like a change of scenery. Then we'd come back to the pool. We'd go in for lunch. Then we'd, you know, chuck them in the prams, get them for a walk to get them off on a nap. Like, still have a routine when you go away if you're like me and you are a creature of routine, but don't expect it to be the routine that you have at home. You know what I mean? But also be flexible, because I think it's not going to be the same. Your kids are in a completely different environment. And I think if you're pressuring yourself to maintain that routine that you have at home, like, I'll be honest, like when we get back from holidays, it takes about 2 or 3 days for my kids to get back into their, you know, standard everyday routine, but it's only 2 or 3 days. And it is so worth it for the holiday that we've just been on. I know I started this podcast by saying I'm freaking exhausted, but it was magical. Like the time we had away was really magical. And so, yeah, like have the routine best you can, but don't be so stuck on it that, you're nervous of like, is this going to affect them forever? Because it's really not. It'll take a week, maybe 2 max to get them back into normality. They will soon realize where they are. But yeah, like routine, it's going to probably be different. If you are someone that can keep the same routine, hats off to you. I can't do that, but that's what I have found. We do have a home routine and a holiday routine, and that changes based on where we are too. I think the other thing as well with holidaying with kids is finding your flow. You have to do what works for you. Every holiday I go on, I do something different to see if it's going to work. For example, this holiday, I was like, my kids are going to be in the pool. I need toys. So instead of going out and buying them there, I thought, I know, I'll go to Home Bargains, and I bought a load of bath toys, and it was such a hit. And that is something that I will always do from now on, is bring bath toys with me on holiday. Same goes for the aeroplane. Like my kids will only have like their tablets for the airplane. They don't have tablets at home. The only screen time they have is sort of like, the TV or YouTube on our phones if we need them to one day. But they don't have their tablets to hand. So for them, when they go on the plane, that's really easy for us then, because that's so new, and they can get lost in that for an hour or whatever, Find your own thing that works for you guys as a family when you're away. I've taken before now Ella's kitchen pouches because I don't want to be looking around for food for my baby. You know what I mean? We've taken formula. I know a friend of mine who's even taken like sterilizers and things to just like pre-made formula to make things easier for her. Like I know people that have taken cribs or prams that are like maybe not what you would normally take, but ones that you just know your kids are going to nap in. Like you've got to find your flow and just do whatever is going to be easiest for you. If giving your kids a tablet for some screen time is going to mean that you get 2 minutes to yourself on holiday, do it. I am such an advocate for that. Find your flow, figure out what works for you guys as a family, get a little routine going, and it will change your holiday. I can promise that. The flight. I always get asked flying with kids, like what it's like. And again, like I said earlier, I think one of my biggest tips would be take snacks with you. And if you think you've got enough snacks, think again. Like you can never take enough snacks away with you. I don't know if it's because I've got 2 kids, but literally what I do, I go and I raid like Home Bargains. It's so cheap. I get all their favorite snacks and I will give like, 1 each. And you'll find me there. I'm like, 1 for you, 1 for you, 1 for you, 1 for you. I go to Home Bargains, I buy stickers, and they stick the stickers on like the back of the seats, on the tray tables, on the windows, on me. Like they stick the stickers everywhere, but they love it. Okay. An easy distraction, stickers, and they are literally 49p in Home Bargains. So we're not even talking that we need to break the bank here. Just something new, something different. And then, you do have to go and peel them all off before you leave the flight, but that's a different story. A new toy. This time around, I bought them literally a new monster truck each. And they played with that for ages. They argued because I bought them different ones. And what I've come to realize with my sons is they need the same of everything. So I'm just doubling up right now to make my life easier. But new monster truck, it cost me a £5. It literally cost me a £5. I then also bought a new book for Saint, £2. So that's what I mean. Like it doesn't have to be this really expensive thing where you have to go and buy a whole tablet or, buy anything crazy. Just get them something small that will just be, they can have on the plane. And that's it. They can't have it any other time in the run up to holiday. It is just the plain surprise. And it's a game changer. So snacks and a new toy will literally give you the flight of dreams. Take grandparents with you guys. I know I just mentioned that as well. But honestly, taking people with you on holiday, like we've even talked recently about like holidaying with like friends who have got kids in the same phase as us, because it just makes it easier. We all know the phrase, like it takes a village. Holidaying with a village is also a really good idea because there's enough of you. Like when I go away with my family, like they're still my kids. So I'm not about to be out here, peace out, sunbathing all day enjoy, mum. Like, it's grandma time now. It's not like that. They are still my kids. If they cry, I am still the one that's got, I've still got to sort their food. I have still got to get up with them at 6 a.m. I have still got to do the naps. And, but every now and then, like, my dad will take the boys to the pool, or my mum will take Saint for a walk to get a snack. Like, it just eases the burden. I'm actually quite excited to holiday with friends. I think that would be really fun because it's just different, isn't it? Friends and family is so different. And I just feel like, if the kids were there with people the same age as well, it would just be an absolute blast because they would just entertain each other and I can just watch from a sunbed is the dream. That is the dream. And I guess the last thing, and I'll finish with this, for the episode, parenting abroad and holidaying with kids is please don't shy away from it. Just that time that you have with your kids is just worth all of it. All the anxiety, all the rows that you will have with your partner or with whoever's with you, or even if you're on your own, the frustration in your head that you're like, I just want to scream, like, it is worth it. You are going to have those moments where you're like, oh my gosh, what have we done? Like, I thought that when I arrived in Lanzarote this time around, I was like, oh, have we made a good decision? Like, we were in a really nice hotel. We never really do all inclusive because, again, we kind of like our routine and, you have to eat at certain times with all inclusive. And I thought, how is this going to go? And you do feel like, did I do the right thing? And I've had holidays where I've gone, okay, that is a holiday that I'm not doing again. And you just know your kids and what they're going to enjoy. It is a lot. I'm not going to sit here and say that holidaying with kids is the easiest thing and the most relaxing or holiday thing in the world, but it's so amazing. Like, the memories that I have on holiday with my children are memories that I will always love. Like, memories of me being in the pool with my kids until we're wrinkled like prunes. I love it. I love being in the pool all day with my son. There's going to be a day that he's like maybe not even wanting to come on holiday with me. So perspective, do you know what I mean? Like I said, the years are short. There's going to be a time where he wants to go to kids club or he wants to disappear with holiday friends and I'm left all day, with Ben, which will be lovely. But that day is going to come. And please, like, don't shy away from doing things with your kids because of the story that you say in your head over how it's going to be, because 9 times out of 10, it is a lot worse. And don't get me wrong, sometimes when you come back from being away, you think, like, I remember once we went for a day out in Paris with the kids and Saint was teething so bad and he cried all day. And that is one of the memories that I have of that day in Paris is Saint crying all day. And to the point where, like, sometimes if he cries, I'll say, oh my gosh, it's like Paris all over again. But that was the truth. And we said then, okay, a city break with our children is not going to work. Like, we had to bin off all of our sightseeing plans and just go and hang in a park because that's what my kids needed at that time. And again, being flexible and just going with the flow and realizing what your kids need is so important. But don't shy away from it. Realize obviously what you can and can't do. Like I said, we're not about to be doing city breaks with the kids anymore. Holidaying with them, experiencing new things with them, going to restaurants with them is so worth the anxiety and the story that you tell yourself in your head. Like, it is never as bad as you think it's going to be. And it is beautiful and it is special. So if you're on the fence this year or next year about doing a family holiday in the UK or wherever you are, staycation or abroad, just do it. The story you tell yourself in the head is not as bad as what it's going to be in real life. The memories that you make, the time spent together is absolutely worth it. It is incredible. It is amazing. So yeah, this is your sign to do that. So thank you so much for tuning in and listening. Please give us a little follow, share this with mum friends, send it to your partner. If you're like, this is the sign we need, babe, we got to book that holiday, and even if it's like, oh my gosh, she's so right, I'm going without my kids, just do it. Have memories, live life. They're only little for literally 2 minutes. Blink and you'll miss it. It is so true. But honestly, holidaying with kids, it ain't easy. I'm not going to say that it is, but it is the most special, magical, memorable thing you will ever do. So yeah, please subscribe to this podcast, like it, love it, do what you want, share it with a friend. Thank you so much for joining me. I am so excited to bring you so many more episodes. But yeah, thank you so much. And let me know if you do book a holiday. Let me know in the comments. Like, give me your stories of taking your kids on flights and make me feel a little bit less alone. And make me feel like my kids really are just kids, because that's exactly what they are. Kids are kids. One day they'll be grown adults that can sit in their seat and they'll have AirPods in their ears and they won't even look at you. But until then, kids are kids. So let them be kids. Let them go up and down the aisles. Do whatever you got to do to make your life easier. But mainly, enjoy your holiday. I love you so much. Have a beautiful rest of your day. I will see you very soon. Love you. Bye.